In 1905, Albert Einstein published a theory of special relativity, which explains how to interpret motion between different inertial frames of reference. Special relativity explains the phenomenon of how space and time are linked for objects that are moving in uniform motion at speed of light. This theory helps to explain two phenomena that are length contraction and time dilation. Albert Einstein proposed the theoretical aspects for special relativity with two postulates. The laws of physics are the same and can be stated in their simplest form in all inertial frames of reference. The speed of light c is a constant independent of the relative motion of the source. Note, the speed of light is a constant only in vacuum. Basically, special relativity tells us that because light always travels at a constant speed, time dilates and length contracts to compensate, and we can confirm this by looking at this formula, in which the physical variables velocity times time is equal to distance. But speed is always a constant, which means that the other two variables would have to change, thus resulting in time dilation and length contraction. With this theory, we can explain certain phenomena with different reference frames. In figure 1, the first scenario is shown. There is one person inside a rocket that is moving at a constant speed in a straight line, frame of reference number 1, and a person outside the rocket at rest, frame of reference number 2. If the person inside the rocket shoots a laser into a mirror on top of him, he would see the light reflected into a straight line, so he can conclude that the laser light is moving at the speed of light. But what the person from outside sees is a laser light moving in a diagonal way. Both events are happening at the same time, so the person at rest can conclude the light traveled in a longer distance. The second postulate states that speed is a constant, so something must have changed. In this case, time slowed down for the person inside the rocket from the perspective of the person outside, compensating in order to have the speed of light as a constant at reference frame number 2. This is known as time dilation. Dilation occurs when another reference frame is moving relative to you, in this case frame of reference number 2, so time in that reference frame number 1 slows down relative to the time you measure. This can be explained through the following formula, where t is the time in the moving reference frame, person inside the rocket. Initial time is the time in the stationary reference frame, the person outside the rocket. V is the rocket velocity and c the speed of light. This formula shows how time slows down by a factor of the following. If we call this factor gamma, it can apply to any situation that inertial reference frame is moving relative to you. Always has to be greater than 1 because the v velocity of the moving reference frame always has to be less than c speed of light. So as a result, time is slower in that reference frame. Now, let us imagine that in the same scenario, two rocks hit the rocket in motion. One hits the front and another the back. Let's suppose that the person at rest observes that the rocks hit the rocket at the same time. The moment that this person sees the two rocks, the rocket has already moved since it is an object in motion. The person inside the rocket sees is that the front rock hits first, then the rocket moved forward, and then the second rock hit the back. Shown time can pass differently for people depending on their frame of reference. Thus, there is no universal concept of simultaneity.
Another scenario is shown in the next image. Let's suppose that the observer measures the proper length of the distance between two clouds at rest. This is if the Earth was not moving, as shown in this next picture. Now, in the next part, the Earth is moving at its normal speed. The observer is still at rest, but the distance of the clouds seems to have been shortened. This is called length contraction. And length contraction occurs when an object is moving relative to you, in this case, the observer of the clouds. Its length in the direction it is moving will seem shorter than if the object was not moving at all. This phenomenon can be explained through the following process. First, we know that velocity times time equal distance, as shown in the first formula. This formula will apply to the clouds, where v is the velocity, time is the time in the moving reference in the clouds, and d is the distance between these two clouds. But for the observer, we will need to use a different formula, since time moves faster for the observer because of time dilation, as we mentioned previously. So time in velocity times time equals distance would be the next formula. This was the formula number 3, previously shown in the time dilation example. So, by using this formula, the distance will result shorter between the clouds since the time is shorter due to time dilation. So, we can generalize this in the next formula. In general, when an object is moving past you in direction of motion, which is L, is equal to the length of the object at rest, which is L0 over gamma. So, no matter what, it was proved in the previous examples that through mathematical process and physical analysis that the speed is always constant, and that this is the essence of the theory proposed by Einstein, confirming the veracity of the theory. The only problem with special relativity is that, as its name suggests, it can only be applied to special cases, which are not very common in the human's everyday life. Special relativity has forever changed our understanding of space and time. Even though many of the applications of relativity are from general relativity theory in humans' everyday life, there are some important applications of special relativity. The first one is in the relativistic Doppler effect, which is a useful extension of the Doppler effect in classical mechanics, which is especially important because relativistic speeds need to be considered from one of the main instances in which the Doppler effect becomes important, which is the redshift of light reaching us from far galaxies. Another important application of this theory is to solve problems involving collisions and decays. Many such particle-to-particle collisions occur in the atomic or subatomic level. Such small particles require little energy to accelerate them to the speeds near the speed of light. Thus, special relativity is necessary for describing many of these interactions. With all these applications and the theoretical problems shown previously, we can conclude the veracity of this interesting and useful theory in physics and in humans' life in general.